You know, people say don't put all your eggs in one basket. I made myself ill. I was so ill.
I won't be tricked into social media making me not feel good enough.
When you run a business and it's good, it's amazing. But there is nothing like the lows of when things are going bad.
It's mixing work and life.
That can make or break me.
Embrace those moments as learning opportunities. Oh, that is so cliche.
But it is true.
Today's episode is sponsored by Closer, the app that helps you discover exclusive local deals right here in Sussex. Whether you're after a pint, a haircut or a last minute gift, Closer shows you where to go and what you can save, all from the comfort of your phone. It's free to download, easy to use and packed with offers from the best spots around. Download the Closer app today from the App Store. That's CLOSR. Save money, support local with Closer. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Untold Podcast. Again today, this one's slightly different because I want to talk about women in business. Now I've got two lovely ladies here with me today that both have their own businesses and very successful at that. So without further ado, let's introduce you to Kelly from Bella June Flowers.
Hello.
And Danny from Ripples Bathrooms in Linfield.
Hello.
Morning.
Morning.
Afternoon, whatever time it is you're listening to this.
Oh yeah. It's not live.
It's
Thank
not
God.
live, thank God.
Yeah.
So, welcome to the Untold Podcast, and thanks for coming on. I thought it'd be really good for other female listeners to hear what it's really like running a business. So, Kelly, what is it you do?
I am a florist. I have two retail high street florist shops.
Okay, and Danny?
Sussex.
So I own a Ripples bathroom franchise in Linfield.
Okay, and how long have you both been doing that for?
Me, I go
Yeah,
first.
you go first.
So we opened our doors November 2023. So really, we're still within our infancy. But yeah, not that long really.
And was it tough? Was you scared when you first started doing it? Was you worried about it? How did it come about? How did the idea of opening a bathroom showroom come about?
All right, it's a bit long.
It's fine.
So I got into bathrooms probably about eight or 9 years ago.
What a thing to get into.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
do you
into
know what?
bathrooms.
Bathroom design, and kitchen design, there is no qualification for it. You can't go to college or university and study just bathroom and kitchens. And a lot of people I know in the industry just fell into it randomly. And a lot of people I know are self-taught because there is no thing that you can learn. So I randomly fell into it all those years ago, and I just realised it was the only job that I was waking up every morning and I wanted to go and do it.
Oh, that's so important.
Yeah, it's the only job, and I really struggle with authority, working under people, and that's one of my that's one of my flaws.
Of entrepreneurs have ended up owning a business because of that exact reason.
I just struggle, having to uphold other people's morals that don't match with mine or not as good as mine. Sounds really bad, doesn't it? And I just knew that bathrooms, that's what I want to do. It's so random, but I was just like, I love it. It's just so different. It's creative. There's so much you can do with a bathroom, especially now, the times have really changed, which you'll know yourself, how much bathrooms are changing. And we had COVID. We had a COVID baby number 3. And I was also on furlough as well. So because I was one of the shielders. So it kind of ended up that I mutually kind of just left where I was, not for any other reason other than who knows how long this is going to go on for. I've now got a newborn. I feel unemployable right now.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, my husband's dad passed away, and which meant there was inheritance. So, but it wasn't enough inheritance that we could buy a house. We couldn't buy a house. It wasn't enough to do something like that with. But it was enough that we did not want to waste it. You know? We really wanted to do something for our family with it. And we probably could have just lived off it for a year maybe. Yeah. But that's all it would have, it wouldn't have lasted very long. And just, I've wanted to have my own bathroom showroom for so many years. specifically a Ripples one as well, because when I was working in Red Hill, they used to have one in Reigate. I walked in there as they were one of my competitors at the time, and I thought I'll just walk in there and see who's this Ripples, you know. And as soon as I walked in there, I was just like, I want this. This is what I want. And we forgot about it for a long time because we were really young and didn't have the sort of money you need for a franchise. And it was in that moment in COVID when I decided that I might as well just be at home with the boy for a little bit, that Sean said, why don't we look at Ripples again? And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, like, let's look at it. Let's see if they want us for a start, because you never know. They're quite picky about who they want. And that's how it came about. I don't know, it's really difficult to explain. It just came about that I spoke to Roger Kime, who's the CEO of Ripples Holdings. We got on like a house on fire straight away, even with my kids screaming in the background for biscuits. Like, honestly, I had Isaac and Toby must have been about 5 or 6 years old at the time. It's taken a while to get to this point. And it was half term, and they were just like, Mum, can I have this? Can I have that? And I'm like, I'm really sorry, Roger. I just need to give my kids a biscuit. Shut up for a minute. But even with that, he was still like, oh no, it's fine. I get it. Like, we are all family run. And I was like, oh, I love that. Yeah. I love that they didn't care that they could hear my kids in the background. And we went there. We found the property that I wanted as well, which was a real long shot as to whether we'd even get it, because it was right at the beginning of the process. It was in like the January that I found it, the property that we're in now. Yeah. And I took it with me anyway to the meeting with Paul and Nicola Crowe, who are the sale director and managing director of Ripples. And we went all the way to Bath, managed to get childcare for the night. That is a challenge in itself. And I presented it to them and said, this is the building I want. And they were like, well, it's kind of really early days. By the time we get to it, there's no way you're going to have that building, And lo and behold,
it was still there.
It was still there. It kept coming on and off the market, on and off, constantly. But like in my head, all I could see was me standing outside that building. We looked at another building,
manifested it.
That's all I could see. All I could see was myself standing outside that building. And it came off the market for a little while, so like it must have got quite serious with another company, I guess. And I remember we went and looked at a place in Calfold, and Roger, the CEO, came down, from Bath, he came from Bath to come and look at it with us, and he hadn't even seen the Linfield one, like in person. So we were pretty convinced that this Calfold one was one that we'd have to go for. Everyone else was like, yeah, it's going to be great here. This is great. This is a really good spot.
Something wasn't right.
I just didn't feel it. Yeah. I didn't feel it in my gut, and I trust my gut so much. I really, really do trust my gut. And the Linfield one came back up again. And by this point, it was like April. And the probate with Sean's inheritance was, it was so close to being done. And I basically turned into a solicitor for like 6 weeks, running around my kitchen, pacing back and forwards. That poor baby was in the high chair a lot, whilst I'm making phone calls to push this flat sale through so that we can. It was a nightmare, to be honest. It was a real nightmare. And I remember saying to Roger, I said, I just don't want to do Calfold, like this Linfield Waste back up, and that's what I want. I really want it. And what I normally want, I will normally get it because I'm just laser focused on it. That's what I want. I said, all I can see is me standing outside that building. That's the one I want. And he just came back saying, well, do you know what? I think Calfold's great, but I think you've made your mind up. So let's just run with it then. And yeah, it all went through. And in the end, and I didn't get the keys, bearing in mind that I wanted this building from the January, I didn't get the keys till the end of September.
Wow. That's a long time of anxiety and waiting around, isn't it?
It was awful, especially with the kids as well. Yeah. Like, the kids knew something was going on, but they
it's
weren't
also
sure
a long time to have this dream in the pipeline and not be able to actually do it.
Yeah.
Like to be sitting on an egg like that for so long.
It was.
As a creative, you must have just been desperate just to get in there and
It was difficult.
Get the ball rolling.
It was really difficult. And it was really difficult to prove to landlords that we were the right business to take that on. Because obviously every landlord's looking for longevity, aren't they? And it's something that they've got in their family portfolio. So I think they own quite a few, like, you know, commercial premises. And it's one that was really important to them because it turns out the landlord had a like an antique shop for about 20 years in the same building. So it obviously means quite a lot to them as well. So I had to really fight my case, not only with like ripples and saying, I want to work with you and I think I'm going to be an excellent franchisee, but then also to prove myself to landlords, banks, accountants, just having to, you know,
jump through hoops.
Yeah, just say, I know I can do this.
And once you've jumped through all those hoops and you're in, then you've got to prove yourself to the customer base and the village.
Yeah, and everyone.
Because small villages like that can be quite particular
very
about
clicky.
what they want on the high street.
Yeah, very much so. I was really nervous actually about how will the village perceive a bathroom shop turning up, because, you know, I was looking at like Linfield gossip, you know, all the like Facebook pages, and I was constantly scouring it and looking at it to see where people were speculating what's going to be there, and none of it was anything to do with a home renovation place, nothing at all. So I was thinking, gosh, like, you know, people might not be happy about this.
Yeah.
And is that going to, in such a small community, is that going to really go against me? But eventually, when all the posters went up that we were coming soon and all that stuff, we started seeing a little bit more positive talk on those community pages and things. And I thought, okay, it's going to be all right. Yeah. It's going to be okay.
You've done really well.
Oh, thanks.
You have done. And I've seen you on LinkedIn and stuff, winning awards and stuff. Winning awards for doing it. So it's amazing. That is really amazing. So Kelly, let's move on to you.
Oh, my story is quite a lot shorter.
I'm so sorry. I'm
going to try and bulk it out for you.
We don't edit unless something really needs editing.
Well, how did the shop come about?
Yeah.
Actually, I probably wouldn't be in that shop if it wasn't for my husband, because we moved to Hassocks, which is where my first shop is, and I was out. We'd only been there a couple of months, and I was picking up a takeaway. And when I was in there, the takeaway guy sort of said, "Oh, what do you do?" And I said, "Oh, I'm a florist." And at the time, I was working for somebody else. He said, "Oh, we need a florist in Hassocks." I didn't know Hassocks, so I didn't know there wasn't a florist. And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." He said, "Actually, there's an empty shop down the road. You should take that and put it as a florist." And I sort of giggled it off, went back with my takeaway, told Paul. And he didn't giggle it off. So he goes in there the next day and arranges to take over the lease. And he comes back to me and he says, we had a newborn at this point. We were renovating a house, planning a wedding. And he says, "Oh, I've just agreed the lease with the..." There was a bit of back and forth and it all fell through at one point and then it came back to us. But it was him that sorted it out. And I wouldn't have taken that leap without him. I was quite happy sort of bumbling along on just... As long as I got to play with flowers and be creative and do my form of art, I was quite happy to bumble along under somebody else's branding. But when you finally get that freedom of being able to do it all yourself, and I walked into this empty shop and we were like, what are we going to do with it? What colours are we going to use? What style are we going to go for? And I was no longer under somebody else's branding and I had all the creative choice in the world. I was like, wow, I could not step out of this now. Yeah. I could never work for anybody else now.
It's
like,
your
now
own
that
thing,
I've found my brand and found what I like and how I like to do things, put me under somebody else's umbrella now and I would shrivel up and die.
I don't think I could do it.
I'm unemployable. I can't be told what to do.
Well, this is the problem, I think, isn't it? I think you kind of do become almost unemployable.
Oh, yeah.
How do you go from...
The only reason I got on well with the florist I was working with is because she was so trusting in me, and she was an air hostess. Later on, I took over running the florist for her while she did long-haul flights with Virgin, and she was so trusting in me. She was basically said, do what you think. And if I ever phoned her up with a query, if I could get hold of her, I trust you, Kelly. I trust you to do what you think. And I eventually learnt that she trusted me, so I did start running it like I liked it, and it worked, and she was happy with that. And I think that's the only reason I was employable. If she had been like, no, do it my way, do it like this, do it like that, I wouldn't have lasted.
You wouldn't have lasted, yeah.
No. Yeah.
So what happened next then? You got the keys.
Got the
You were
keys.
in there. Were you petrified? Because obviously you didn't. Paul kind of forced you to take that leap, and I didn't know this story.
Yeah,
I didn't know
it was
this
Paul
story.
that was just like, do it, like let's do it. You've got a talent, you've got a skill, you can make some money out of this. Let's do it. And I was a bit like, okay. Paul takes more risks than me.
Yeah.
He definitely takes more risks than me, which you wouldn't expect if you met us, like, because I'm the chilled out, laid back one, and he's quite like everything's got a spreadsheet, and so in life I'm quite free and quite chilled and quite hippie, but with taking big risks like that, I'm not so. I'm a bit more careful. So yeah, I was terrified. I was scared, but I 100% trusted that I was good at what I was doing. There was no doubt in my mind that I couldn't do it, and I couldn't do it well. There were things that scared me where I didn't know hassocks, and I didn't have friends and family in that village that would support buy from me. So I was relying on coming into a high street where I didn't know anyone. I didn't know all the school mums. My kids didn't go to school there. I didn't have neighbours and friends that I knew had just moved there. And we weren't far away from where we lived, but I didn't have that community support. Well, I didn't think I did, but it turns out I did. I opened the doors and people coming in and were like, wow, I was so pleased to have a florist on the high street. I think for me, I'm lucky because I think every high street needs a florist, a butcher's, a baker's. There are staple shops that you need in village high streets.
Yeah.
So, and I think I'm one of them. So I think, yeah.
Even more so now. So now. Now, I've bought flowers from you, obviously, a hell of a lot. And I've bought it before that. I was buying stuff, and you never know what's going to turn up.
Yeah.
You spend this money online, and you never know what's going to come.
Yeah.
I remember I bought like 24 roses for Valentine's Day. And when I got there, I was like, did you get your flowers? Yeah, they're shit.
Not from me.
Not from you.
Roses,
No, not from you. But it's, yeah. So now you look back on that, and it felt like a risk at the time. Now you look back, what's it been now? 7, 8 years?
It's been in hassocks 8 years now, yeah.
Was it even a risk? Really? Obviously,
No, well,
now you look back, do you think about, like, you must have had sleepless nights. You must have been tossing and turning
a year
and
after
stuff.
we opened, COVID hit.
Oh, yeah.
It was, I think, 6 months after we opened, we were flooded. They have big flooding issues where we are there. We were flooded, and anything that was on the floor was ruined. All the floor was ruined. And then COVID hit, and we flooded again. So because all the shops, everything seemed to time out right there. All the shops were shut during COVID, obviously. And my neighbours, those hairdressers, and they were obviously shut. And I said, would you mind if I emptied my shop into your shop so I can pull up the floor and see what damage has been done by this flood? And they were like, absolutely. So we literally emptied my entire shop into the hairdressers next door during COVID. And my husband Paul he was in building, so he pulled up all the floor and it stank. It's like dead bodies. It stank. It was so damp. Everything was wet, and he was like, "This has got to be filled in." So we've concreted the floor. We actually raised it by a few inches to where the flood line was to make sure that if it happened again, it wouldn't ruin everything on the floor. We lost lots of stock and furniture, and during that time, I thought, I don't know if it's worth it. Is it worth spending all this money on somebody else's shop? Because we were leased in at that time. Yeah. So I was like, is it worth me, like, flood-proofing this shop for somebody else, for the landlord, if I'm only going to be here for a couple of years and it doesn't go through? And, like, we didn't know how long COVID was going to last. We didn't even know if we were renovating that shop to ever even open it again. We didn't know if we were going to open those doors again. And you were seeing small businesses just closing during COVID. Yeah. When their leases came to an end, they were going, well, we're not going to continue the lease, we'll go online. So that was really scary, COVID and the flooding and stuff. But after COVID, it all just picked straight back up again.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we were lucky, or I don't know what it was.
I don't think it's luck. I don't think it's luck, Kelly, because obviously I'm also a customer of Kelly's as well. And I think, like you said, your branding, you as a person as well, you know, people can't help but really like you and buy into you. Yeah, but do you know what I mean? Because that's such an important thing. If a client really likes you, they will naturally be loyal and supportive.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
And, you know, even if you close Linfield High Street shop, I'd still be using you. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't, if another florist could go in there and I wouldn't use them.
Yeah.
It's and that's the thing. I think consistency pays off.
Oh yeah,
consistency pays. It's easy when you've got a business to have, like we've said before we started recording, when you run a business and it's good, it's amazing. You feel on top of the world. But there is nothing like the lows of when things are going bad. Like when it flooded.
Yeah.
When you had to rip all the floors up, spend money that you didn't didn't want to spend at the time because nothing was coming in.
Didn't have the money to spend. It was luckily I got the COVID grant.
Yeah.
That's how I did it. So the timing just worked out for me that I spent that grant that they were giving out to small businesses on flood-proofing the shop, and just surviving like those year or whatever it was that we practically didn't trade because it was a lot of events as well. Well, our weddings got cancelled and stuff.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, so, but yeah, those were the moments where I was like, oh, I don't know if I can continue with the risk taking and the what if, and it's scary times when it's low. Like you said, the lows are really low. They're really low and they're really lonely because you haven't got a boss to go to ask for help or to get advice from. You're on your own. You've got no one to look to, and the lows are low. They're really low. And in the moment, you forget all the highs. We were saying this earlier, weren't we, Danny? Yeah. In the moment of those lows, you forget that actually for that one low moment, there was 10 successes and 10 wins. But you forget those when you're feeling the pressure.
When you're under it, it's so easy to forget how good things have been. Yeah. And you wake up in the morning like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. I've not got it in me anymore. Just can't do it.
That's like when I have moments, and we're still in our infancy, so I suppose we're in the biggest risk area now, timeline wise, and there's been mornings or evenings when I've said to Sean, because my husband works in the business with me, so he gets the pleasure of seeing me literally like 24 hours a day.
I don't know if me and Paul could do that. Like, well done, you guys.
Sean is so laid back, he might as well just be laying down. He's just so chill, honestly. But there's times like that where I've just been, I just don't know why have I opened myself up to having all this responsibility on my shoulders, because you can't get away from it. No. It is on you. And then, Sean turns around and he's like, but think of those awards that you've won. Like, you've only won those because of you. Yeah. Like, nobody else has done that. You just have to keep thinking that's what you're doing it for.
Constantly of the highs.
You are good at what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a bad day is a bad day. As long as you have more good days in a week than you have bad days, then you're doing something right. And if it was a bad day, like I've completely flipped the way I think of things. Don't look at it as a problem. Look as you need to find a solution. Yeah. What happened? Oh, that didn't turn out.
It's all building blocks as well, isn't it?
Let's just get through it.
Yeah.
Let's make it work.
And you've learned for next time.
Yeah.
Like, embrace those moments as learning opportunities. Oh, that is so cliche.
But it is true, though, isn't it? I mean, it's one of the hardest things to do, to genuinely learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, own it. And admit to it and build on it.
I've got to a point now, throughout life anyway, where if I have to say that I've made a mistake, I'll just be like, do you know what? That's on me, but I'm going to fix it. Yeah. And I think it's all about how you're going to fix it, isn't it?
And sometimes fixing... I did a reel, actually, a little while ago that was really popular. Sometimes, as a business owner, fixing a mistake gains you a new customer, gains you a loyal customer, because we're human and humans make mistakes and these things happen. And I work with fresh produce. Sometimes flowers don't last as long as I hope they would last. And it's not always my fault. Sometimes they've put them on a radiator or in a sunny window. But I'll go, those flowers should have lasted longer. Here's another one. And they're like, oh, thank you so much, dealt with that so well. And it's about how you deal with these things.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is to hold your hands up.
Yeah.
And internally for you could duck and you can push the problem down the road, can't you?
Can.
And you're going to make the same mistake again and again and again. Like, you'll understand deliveries. A delivery's not turned up. You'll probably have it. Delivery's not turned up.
Yeah.
It's Valentine's Day and the flowers didn't turn up till 8 o'clock when you needed to be in there at 5 prepping them to get the bouquets out to people. How do you deal with it? It's a problem, find a solution and move on.
Yeah.
That's it.
So then you decided to open another one. Yeah. So you loved it that much.
Yeah. So that one Paul wasn't so pushy about. It was actually my idea.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, I was the one. I kept saying to Danny, so Danny was a customer of mine before I was in Linfield, and I kept saying, if you ever see a shop come available in Linfield, I want it. I really love Linfield. I like the vibe on the high street. I felt like I had a bit of a customer base building in the Haywards Heath, Linfield area. Ardingly, all of that. I sort of had this little customer base building, and I just thought, I need a plot there, I need a space there. Just something, just like you, I follow my gut. Something was telling me that I needed my brand over there. It naturally ended up there anyway. So I kept walking. Those shops come available in Linfield. How you found that one you've got so organically, I have no idea. I had to walk up and down the high street every few months. I'd walk up and down the high street over a period of about 8-9 months, and walk into the shops and keep asking the shopkeepers if they're leaving or if they're retiring, and could you let me know if your shop comes up, or if you know of a shopkeeper that's coming up. And eventually this one shopkeeper was retiring and said, yeah, I'm going, take it. And there it was, and it all went through really quick.
Yeah.
It was
well, I didn't
have time to think about it.
I didn't even know you was doing it until I saw something on Instagram saying Bella Drew Flowers opening in Linfield. I was like, what? When? When did that happen?
See, the fear wasn't really there for Linfield. I was excited. I was absolutely buzzing.
Yeah,
I was so excited for it. There was not really a couple of times. Obviously, I sat there and gone, if we don't make enough money in that first month, I can't pay my landlord the first month. What's he going to think if I can't pay him? What if I can't pay my staff? What if I can't pay my suppliers? Like, I started thinking, I had no capital, like, backup. There was nothing in a pot to get me through the first few months. Yeah. So we got the keys and we turned it around in 2 weeks.
You turned it around so quick.
2 weeks. We got the keys and I got in there. We got the keys on the 2nd of January and we were open, like soft opening, on the 16th of January.
That's nuts, because that's a really bad time for people to spend money as well, isn't
it is a really bad time. Not so much for a florist, though, because 4 weeks after opening we had Valentine's
Day,
which is a really great way of getting people's feet through the doors, like just en masse, to show them what we could do. And the quality of our stuff, and that paid off, because off the back of that then they come back for Mother's Day and then they just remain as customers.
Stuff,
So it kind of hit the ground running, Linfield, but something in me told me it was going to. So sounds really ballsy to say I wasn't worried, because I was worried, but
there's something about that high street though. It's just so unique.
It's a beautiful place.
It's all
lovely.
Independently owned.
Yes.
It's got a lot of female business owners on it.
It has. We were talking about this before.
There's lots of female business.
Yeah.
It's
leaders on the high street.
Nice
it's
vibe.
cool.
The community itself.
Yeah.
Everyone's like really lovely, and
people want to shop small and shop local in Linfield.
And this is, I think people should be doing that more in more places.
Yeah.
Supermarkets
it's so
and stuff.
important.
They're just pulling our pants down
for... they really are.
The produce is terrible. The meat's terrible. You buy a chicken breast and it's that big.
Then it shrinks when you cook it.
The flowers are terrible.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you pay over the odds for them, what you would pay going into someone like you. But I think we're more and more lazy as human beings. It's convenience, isn't it?
Convenience.
I'm going to get some milk. I'll pick some flowers up on the way past.
Exactly.
And I think it's what you've both done is amazing. Now, obviously, when you took your place on, I know that you had a lot of work to do in there to get it to where it is today. How was that?
I made myself ill. I was so ill. We obviously, so a bit like Kelly, we didn't have a pot. Like, everything we put into it, that was it. That's all we had. You know, it was really, people say don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah,
we did. But like you were saying, I know I'm good at it. I'm good at bathrooms. Yeah. I'm good at design. So I just kept reminding myself that this is going to be great when it's done. But it took us about 7 weeks to turn it around. But because it's grade 2 listed as well, we had a bit of planning permission to get through. Yeah. There's certain walls that we couldn't affix anything to, so we had to build out from like bare brick walls and things like that. So there's still a lot to do. I mean, we've got an upstairs.
You're building bathrooms in there. I mean, all I was really doing was painting the walls and putting up shelves. So.
Yeah, but it's still a shop fit out, isn't it? At the end of the day, and it's hard work. I mean, I designed every bay in the showroom myself, which it was Ripples was a new product base. Some of the products and brands that Ripples have access to, there's a lot of showrooms that don't have access to that. So I wasn't privy to a lot of these before, and I had to I had to back in Linfield Coffee Works, actually. Great coffee shop. Back to back for about 2 weeks, I had reps of every single brand come out and see me. And I sat in that coffee shop literally 2 weeks solid, just waiting for the reps to come in and talk to me so that I could learn as much as I could about the brands I didn't know as much of. So when I come to design it, I knew what I should be putting in there, what's going to work, what's the new stuff that maybe other showrooms haven't put in yet and things like that. Just try to
get ahead of the game.
Get ahead of it, and also make it appealing to Linfield, because Linfield is such a specific...
So niche.
...place. It's very picture postcard. It's very...
Christmas, you have to have the Christmas display.
You've got to have
Linfield
everything.
Village Week, you have to have the Linfield display.
100%. And it was making sure... I'm lucky, like, we've lived on the outskirts of Linfield forever. My kids go to school in Linfield, so... Which was also kind of worrying, though, because... all those school mums that know
it's mixing work and life.
That can make or break me, because I only need to accidentally upset one person, and that could be a whole
don't upset anyone on the PTA.
Do you know what I mean, though? Like, it could make or break me. Like, I have to be so careful, and my children have to be careful too. Yeah. And I'm constantly having to coach them when we're out and about. Living where you work is quite hard, because when we're out and about, I'm like, you do not know what clients we might see. So I need you to be, just don't run around like loonies, don't scream, don't, like, touch everything in a shop, just chill. You know what I'm like, you've seen me with my boys, and my boys are nuts.
You don't have to preach to me.
Yeah, you know what it's like. So that was also something, but yeah, it was hard work getting fit out, but we were fit out within 7 weeks, and that was just purely, I know that they were also trying to fit out Tunbridge Wells ripples as well. And I just made it abundantly clear to the guy who owns Ripples in Tunbridge Wells, who is a friend. But I made sure, I was like, just letting you know, I'm going first. Like, if there's a choice between me and you, it's going to be me. So we fit out, like, really quickly by a showroom fit out standards. It was just like one team doing it, one team of tilers, that was it. And you also know as well, Ashley, like, in the bathroom industry, tile industry, all that kind of industry is a bit renowned for deliveries not turning up on time, wrong things being delivered. So I had to really factor in, if I've got to open my doors, I had to pay rent from day dot. I had no rent-free period, nothing. So if I need to open my doors, I need to be making sure that everything's delivered on time. Like, I had to really schedule myself to make sure I can open those doors when I need to. It was really hard, because we had to wait for planning permission as well.
Oh, what, to change the usage?
No, we didn't have to do change of usage. It was for the fact that we've obviously had to build quite a lot of, like, stud walls and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So we had to
it's
get...
listed.
Oh, it's listed.
Yeah.
It's a listed building,
so
yeah.
I had to get... We also, at one point, my dad was a massive support. He was there with me a lot. We were trying to open up one of these, like, doorways, and we started, like, getting into it, and we realised there's this old oak beam in it, and we were like, we can't open that up, because it was on no plans, nothing, no one even knew it was there. So we were like, we'll have to cover that back up and change the whole design of that bay and try and make it work. So that was, like, a big change that we had to do. It's difficult, isn't it? But we did it.
Yeah.
And we got there in the end.
You're booming.
All right. What have you both had to sacrifice in your life to be able to run these businesses the way you've run them? That's a big
Sleep,
one.
food, time.
I think time with children,
yeah,
isn't it?
The kids.
It is always going to come down to that. As cliche as that is as women in business.
Look, I think that there's loads of different types of women. There's these women that are just born mothers, and having a job or a career, and that is just not for them. They just want to bake and be with their children all the time and just be home and be mothers. And I think that in itself is a full-time job, and hats off to them, because
100%.
I actually couldn't do that.
No,
I genuinely couldn't do that.
No.
And then there's the women that aren't interested in a family and are, like, career driven, and they're quite happy to be this independent boss woman. And there's lots of other women, but then there's these, like, in-betweenies like us that want to do it all. Maybe not to the full, like, I draw the line at baking bread. It's not happening. And I also wouldn't be able to just have a career and nothing else. But I'm somewhere in that grey area in the middle that wants to be a really good mum, but I also have to survive and to function. I have to have something for me.
Yourself.
And it's not the gym and it's not horse riding. I don't have a hobby. I actually genuinely love pottering around in my shop and doing stuff with flowers. And I think I'm an artist. It's in me to be artistic, and I just chose flowers as my medium. That is my therapy. That is and my sanity. Me time. Yeah, it is.
Flowers is your sanity.
And I have sacrificed a lot of time with my children. I know I have for work, but I've also sacrificed a lot of my time, which is work, for my children. And I think the balance is all right. It's okay. Yeah. I would definitely spend more time with my kids if I could.
Yeah.
Like, if I could take a day off from the shop, I would, to be that full-time mum, school drop-off, school pick-up, homework, and do it from 6 a.m. till 10 at night. I would. But financially, it's not there for me at the moment to be able to do that. But it doesn't bother me, loads, because I really do enjoy working. I genuinely love my job.
Yeah.
I wouldn't not want to do it.
No. I remember when, I think Isaac was 2... I should have been Toby would have been about 1, so the youngest one didn't exist yet. And I just remember getting to, Isaac being about 2, and I remember looking at Sean and just going, I need to go back to work. I can't do this all the time. I feel like I've completely lost myself.
Some women just aren't made to be
no, I think
mums, and you shouldn't feel guilty for it.
No,
Instagram does a great job at making working mums, I think, feel a little bit guilty for not making all those special memories. But we were saying earlier, there's other stuff in there too. It's not always rainbows and sunshine, and kids can be arseholes.
Yeah.
They can be utter arseholes sometimes, and
Definitely.
we need to get away from it. Some women just aren't built to be around those little arseholes all the time.
No, no, I completely agree. I really do. I think if I wasn't working, I think my mental health would really suffer.
I agree.
Because when Isaac was, when he was that age, when I was just saying, I was starting to feel myself mentally slipping into this, I'm just a mum now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I think I was maybe 23. I was at 23, I'm now mum. What? How is this happening?
I've never actually been I've never done the mumming thing full time. All my kids were born, maternity leave was maximum of a few weeks, and I was back at work again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to put myself through it.
I think we tried it because we didn't have enough money to put them into care.
Also, and
that's another thing though, isn't it?
Also, you're kind of expected when you have a baby to be a stay-at-home mum for a little while and try it. I was just not for me. I knew it wasn't for me from day dot. It was never going to be for me.
I don't think I even ever wanted children.
Wow, actually, that's a whole nother conversation.
Actually didn't. It's only because I ended up with Sean, and I thought, it'd be really nice to have a family with you.
So we touched then on mental and sanity.
Yeah.
What mental health? What do you do when things are tough and you still have to be mums? You still have to do the school run. Work going bad. What do you do? How do you deal with that? Any tips or tricks?
Cry into my sandwich in the car. That's where I have my lunch when I'm on a delivery.
Private crying.
That's a lie. I don't cry. I'm a bit emotionally dead.
No, see, I cry because if I don't cry, it will come out as anger for me. So I have to cry.
Do you?
I have to have some sort of something has to come out of my face.
Yeah.
Because it's either going to be shouting, getting angry, or crying. I don't have much of an in-between. I'm very emotional as a person, actually. And I try and put on this bravado that I'm, really tough. I'm not. I'm soft as shit.
Really?
And, my emotions, I had to struggle not to cry in front of a client the other day.
Really?
Yeah, I really struggled not to. I was really holding it back, and I could feel the prickles behind my eyes. And my designer, Carrie, was looking at me like... And it was all because he thought that I was supposed to be going out to visit site, but it turns out I did twice, but he was away for the whole month that we were fitting out. So for me, I was like, I did go out. Obviously I didn't let it come across that way, but I struggle to keep it in because we were saying earlier, it feels so personal when things go bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it feels so personal. Like when I worked for other people, I cared about the client and what they thought, but also like I didn't care either. Like,
well, it wasn't a personal dig if someone doesn't like something you're doing.
I would just be like, I could direct them off to a manager somewhere. I'd just sort of be like, okay.
And now it is you.
Now it is me.
And now your staff is you.
Yeah.
Your brand is you.
Exactly.
The shop is you.
Yeah.
The windows being cleaned is you.
Yeah, it's such a shift to have to take. And I think
it's a lot of responsibility.
The mental load that women do have, there is a big mental load that women have, I think. Yeah. And I'm sure men have that in their own way as well. But I think women are mums, wives, daughters, business owners in our case, customer satisfaction people, feedback gatherers, actual florists, like actually designing things. It's like you're everything in one. And it's hard to know. I
think there's also an emotional load for women at home, because it's natural that women take on emotional pressure from, say, their husbands come home and they've had a rough time at work. I think women, through the generations, and this is something that is just wired into women, can take on that emotional pressure from their husbands as well and feel it. You can feel it when they walk through the door and they've had a rough day.
We did an episode a little while ago, and we sat down and we were like, right, who is the rock in your family, in your relationship, in everything? And the episode sort of started off as us as men feeling like we're the rock. We have the financial goals.
This is a really interesting point.
And within 15 minutes of that episode, we were like, we're not the rock at all.
I don't think sometimes men realise that women just naturally feel their energy, the men's energy.
Natural empaths.
And if you know they've had a terrible day, you've kind of take on that, and they don't even. Sometimes I don't think the guys know that you've taken on a little bit of that, because there's nothing we can do about it. I can't go out and do your job for you or make it any easier, or get that deal that you're trying to win. But somehow we absorb some of that stress and that pressure.
You know not to give your shit.
Yeah, back.
No, not to give your shit.
Yeah, now's not the time to tell him how shit my day was.
Yeah.
Or how good it is, because you don't want him to feel
you
like...
feel even shitter.
Yeah,
oh, fuck off. My day
was...
What, you rubbing it in now? You're rubbing it in now.
Yeah.
And we did an episode, and it started off like thinking, we're the rock, we do the financial stuff. We do. And after through the episode, we're like, hold on a minute, boys, what are we talking about? We're not the rock at all. And you look back
I think you are I think just like we're ingrained to be that emotional support, men make women. I don't know about you, but Paul, like there's a strength around him. Not because he's physically. I mean, he is strong, but not because he's like you feel safe that I've got a man at home and that he's out there working. I'm working as well, but there's just something about having that man there.
And he's got
also
your back.
Is a support. Yeah, he has. Yeah.
I mean, I think something I picked up on earlier was when you were telling the story of how Paul basically forced you into doing what you do.
Kicked you in. There's the lease, there's the keys, make it work.
And the fact that Sean gave up all of his inheritance into, I think when you find someone that really believes in you, I don't think either one of you are a rock. I think you are.
It's just
together.
Well, actually, it's not even equal. I heard something really interesting the other day. Relationships are not 50-50. Some days they're 10-90.
Yeah.
Some days they're 70-30.
Yeah.
You've just got to be able to sense when he's 30, I'll be the 70.
I'll pick up
Sometimes I'm only 10% today and he'll pick up the 90. And you've just got to be able to read each other and know.
And make it work.
Work.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. But
men naturally want to fix things as well.
Yeah, they do.
And sometimes women don't want you to fix it.
Just want you to agree.
Just want you to let us cry, or just want you to give us a hug.
Just agree.
Cook us dinner, or just something, just a little natural act of love will just perk anyone up. It's just that kind of thing.
Spank me with the tea towel. Just anything. Just anything.
Make me laugh.
Just, exactly. Yeah. Just anything, just so that I know you're there. I don't need you to fix it. I don't need you to make it right. And I'm one of these people as well, when I'm really down and I'm struggling with something, you could give me the best advice in the world and I'll have a reason why it's not good advice.
Yeah.
And that's one of my red flags. I know that about me. And what I actually need is for someone to go, that's really shit, Kelly. That's really shit. That must make you feel really shit.
See, this is what I'm really glad that we found each other, sounds a bit. But, come across each other. I'm glad that we came across each other though, because I don't know any other women
Like, but there is women like that out there. It's just that no one puts it forward.
Yeah.
Everyone's all over social media with all the best bits. It's like a trailer. Everyone's life is a trailer. Yeah. I want to see all the edits. I want to see
the crashing and burning.
Yeah, I do.
But like, this is like we could text each other like really randomly sometimes, like completely randomly. Sometimes about flowers, sometimes not. And you know, I've noticed that a lot of the time, if we've got a problem, or we'll just like lightly mention it to each other, most of the time the reply from either of us will be like, "That's really shit, but it will be all right."
Yeah.
Like, we don't try and fix things.
Don't have the solution for you. But
because you're women in business, you talk to each other about business, yeah?
Yeah, we have, yeah.
Do you both feel like a burden talking to your friends if things are going shit in your business
owners.
That aren't business owners, that are working jobs, that they could have been your best friends for life? Because this is quite interesting, because they say that men need to talk more about everything emotionally. Now, girls, obviously, with your friends, you'll talk about, oh, he's an asshole, or this happened, or this happened, that. But do you talk to your friends about your business?
I'll offload a little bit to my friends. Like, if I've had a rough day and they've said, oh, what's up? And I'll say, but I don't expect them to understand. Like, I will offload just so they know why I'm acting the way I'm acting. Because I'm a window. You can see right through me. Like, there is no hiding if I've had a bad day or a good day. Like, if I've had a bad day, everyone knows about it. So they'll ask, oh, what's up? What's happened? And I'll be like, oh, I just had this arsehole customer. Oh, what happened? And I'll explain. And I don't expect them to understand, because they're not in my field, or they're not, you know, but just letting it off my chest helps. But it's not the same as talking to another person in business, because quite often they can relate and you can feel that.
Yeah, that for sure. I don't really have many friends.
I
do. I have lots of people that I talk to, for talking to.
I actually only have a handful of friends.
But really, like, my actual closest friends that I would ever say, I think things are really, really, really fucking bad at the moment, it's probably one person, and she doesn't own a business. So she also does that's really shit.
Yeah.
But in the sense of, she doesn't
get it.
She doesn't know how shit it is. Yeah. Whereas if I say to you, that's really shit,
I know you
felt
that at some point.
And I felt it too. Yeah. So it is difficult. I also have one of my best friends owns her own business as well, which is totally, like, completely different to what I do. Different overheads, different valuation, different stresses, you know, and I find it really hard talking to her about business, because, you know, her turnover and stuff, it's nothing like mine, because mine's high value sales, hers isn't. So it's really difficult, because she'll be like, well, why are you doing it like that? And I'm like, because
that's how it's done.
Because that's how we have to do it, because of X, Y, Z, you know. And so I actually find it quite difficult talking to my friend that's in business, because you naturally kind of think it's the same, but it's not.
Do you not have different people? You must the same have different people that you tend to talk about. Like, I've got certain friends that if Paul's pissing me off, I'll tell her, because she'll be like, yeah, he's a wanker.
Tell you what you want to
hear. So you kind of have different people that you tell different things to, because it is because you know they can relate. So like, if the kids are pissing me off, I wouldn't go to one of my friends that doesn't have children about that. I'd tell a friend that has children that they're pissing me off. I've got one child who has extra needs, and he's
Is that Paul?
Yeah. As well as him. And so lots of, like, extra needs in school and stuff, and he's really hands-on, he's really hard work. And I really only let off steam to him, not even to a friend. I've got a couple of people that I know have got, like, neurodiverse children, and they're the ones that if I happen to see them or be in the same, I'll almost want to tell them what I'm going through at the moment, and just let them know. And it's the people that have gone through the same thing or are going through the same thing that you kind of want to offload those things to. You kind of pick your counsellor for the day.
Yeah.
It's
the
difficult.
girls are better at talking than boys.
Oh yeah.
I have to squeeze stuff out of Paul.
Oh yeah, same with Sean. Like, he might be quiet for days and days. And he was doing it the other week, and even my designer, because we work so closely together, like literally I'm looking at her every day.
Yeah.
And Sean's in the showroom every day, and even she said, "Is Sean okay?" And I was like, I don't know. He won't say anything if he's not. So I don't really know. You just have to let him ride it out. Yeah. And he will tell me eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's difficult. He doesn't talk to enough people.
I don't hold on to stuff, and Paul does. So Paul can have a problem, and it'll be a tiny problem, but it will eat and eat and eat away at him. Even someone swearing at him on the road because they think he's done something wrong and he actually hasn't, he will hold on to that. Like, he can't let it go. Whereas I'm a bit like, oh, just didn't affect my life. I'm over it. So if I've had a rough day, I'll let it out. It'll be out there, and I can close the book on it. I'm quite good at that. Don't bottle things up. I also don't dwell on things. And whereas Paul really struggles to let things go, and like things will irritate him, and he holds on to stuff that's years old, and it bothers him. And I'm a bit like, Paul, you just got to let that go.
Yeah,
you've got to let that go. Yeah, you can't change it now. You just got to let it go.
One of the big things I've learned over the last few weeks is I know the business is the business, but try and emotionally unattach yourself from it at times.
You can't.
I know it's very difficult. You
can't.
But you can fly off the rails at a customer, whereas if you give yourself 15 minutes to breathe, to compose yourself, your answer's going to be, not emotionally attached, but don't act on emotion.
Yeah.
Try not to act on emotion. And if that person called you a knob, then let them.
Yeah.
You're not ever going to be...
Well, they're the things that I can let go.
Yeah.
Whereas Paul wouldn't be able to do that, I don't think. But I'm quite good at, like, just closing the door at the end of the day and being like, right, it's done now. Let's forget about it. That's an exaggeration. There has been times where things have stayed with me. I've had certain situations at work that I still think about now, and it annoys me. But generally, I'm quite good at switching off. And
being able to not let it root, but like learning that's a skill you've learned, to close the door at the end of the day and sit in your car and breathe before you go home to 3 screaming kids, dinner, a dog, and whatever else you deal with at home. That's something that I've learned, and I've over the last 6 months is like, right, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Deal with it tomorrow. Don't let it ruin you now.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important for
any
business
owner. That's where I think
owner.
I'm quite good at going home, getting it out, and then letting it, and then being done with it. So we'll tell Paul if I've had something really awful happen, or even really good. Yeah, see, I think
I don't know though if that's because I work with Sean.
Yeah, it's different.
So, you know, we shut the door, but then we go home and
he
open
knows
the door,
already.
And he already knows that something's going to have pissed me off that day, or, you know, I feel upset by something or annoyed by something, or he knows. And it was even only yesterday, which was Sunday, which Father's Day as well.
Yeah.
And we'd just gone for lunch at Bill's and Lewis, because it's good for kids.
Oh, we went to Bill's in Horsham.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
I love
Bill's.
And, you know, we were like, got the kids in the car, and he went, oh, what's on the agenda for tomorrow? And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, why are you thinking about work now?
Oh, yeah, I know.
It's like, don't worry. Like,
Sunday.
We'll deal with that tomorrow. Like, I'm not talking about it. And he's like, okay. He gets like almost offended that sometimes I don't want... Because I think for me as well, it's like, I am everything in that business.
Yeah.
I am the designer, the salesperson, the manager, the, you know, overseer. I'm everything in it. I'm the face of it.
Yeah.
So any problems, or niceness as well, don't get me wrong, but, you know, it is all on me. So I feel like I need to try and not take work home with me as much as possible, because...
It's not easy though.
Yeah, but Sean isn't as involved on that kind of extent. So for him, he's like, okay, what's going on tomorrow? And I'm like, shut up.
I'm terrible for working out of hours. I can switch off.
You're always working.
I can switch off, like, thinking about work. But I'm always, we do it, me and you, if someone messages me something about work, I know if I don't reply straight away, they're not getting a reply.
Yeah.
I have to. And even the ones that start with, you don't need to reply to this now. And I'm like, I do. Otherwise, you'll never know the answer.
Yeah.
It's out to the universe. If I don't reply now, you will never know if I can deliver those flowers next Friday. Because I have to do things right there in the moment. I just need to do things instantly.
See, I've got better at that because I was like that too.
I'm terrible. I
And
can't
started
not
to get
do that
better.
though.
But this is part of the reason why we decided to bring a designer on as well, though, because
Offload some of that.
I was killing myself. Like, I just probably not as mentally as resilient as you are, maybe, but
Don't know about
like
that.
you know, I don't know, but yeah, that's partly why I brought on a designer. So I wasn't like, for me, I was doing a lot of design work at home for hours, like till midnight, 1 o'clock, because I had to do so much in the day for business stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the background stuff and the chasing things.
Yeah.
And finding receipts and
I have days like
stuff
that.
like that.
Because you're in a shop as well. You also, if someone walks through the door and keeps you busy for 3 hours talking about what bathtub they should have, that's 3 hours of work that you couldn't do, and you have to do it when you get home. And I'm not throwing men under the bus here, but if a woman sat on her phone or her laptop in the evening doing her work, it's a very different image to if a man has sat in the office at home doing his work till 10 o'clock at night. I don't think it's still the norm for women to work at home in the evenings when they should be perhaps looking after the children.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's maybe a controversial point of view, but I do feel like if I go home, I get looked at. If I'm sat there working, I do all my work on my phone. I can't work a laptop. Yeah. I've got Microsoft, I've got everything on my phone. So it looks like I'm just scrolling, but I'm actually working. I promise I am actually working. Sometimes I scroll, but I am actually working. And I just think, do my kids look at me differently when they see me doing that at home when I should be perhaps washing up or doing something else? As to how they look at Paul when he's sat on his laptop working, isn't it a bit more normal that the bloke can work till 10 o'clock?
Do you know what? I don't know. So for us, I think my boys are very used to seeing me work and not Sean.
Interesting.
Because obviously when this all started, Sean didn't join the business until sort of like July, August time last year. So I was basically running that whole business on my own for months, and he was doing a 9 to 5 that he hated, a 9 to 5 that he hated with a passion, but was just doing it because you have to keep the wheels turning, right? But his job was a job that he could shut the door, that's it, 5 o'clock, home time, done, nothing, no extra work to be done. Whereas the boys were
that's what they've grown up seeing,
constantly bring the laptop home. I specifically bought a laptop so I could take it home. So at least I get to see the kids.
Yeah.
Whether I can talk to them or anything, it's different. But I can see them, and I'm there, and I'm there.
Present,
I'm present, but not at the same time. So I think for us, that's a bit of role reversal. Like I think my boys
battle each other to who can work. Like, it's like, have you got to go to work or can I go to work? I've got to pop back to the shop. I've got to get to the office. Like, we're like, have to schedule in our work around each other, and like, who's doing the school pickup today? I'd like to stay at work. Can you do the school pickup? Shall I? It's
that's got to be tough.
We're moulding ourselves around each other.
Does that cause conflict?
I'll tell you when it caused conflict, and it doesn't now, so I'm safe to say this. When Paul was on the tools and he got to a point in his career with the property developing stuff that he really started to dislike it, and he was really miserable. And I mean, there was lots of stuff underneath there that caused it, with anxieties, and he has OCD, so he likes a job done properly, and working with other tradespeople that perhaps weren't doing the job how he liked it was causing him a lot of stress. He got to a point in his career where he really didn't like work, but he was working from 6 a.m. and sometimes getting in at midnight doing these house renos, and he would come home and he'd hate it, and he was miserable and he was stretched. And I was just like, I wish I could work from 6 a.m. till midnight, because I love it. I really want to be at work. And he earned more money than me, so he had more rights over the clock than I did. So if he could go to work for, and do these stupid long shifts and earn 3 times the amount that I could earn, naturally we have to let him go because we've got a household to run.
Yeah, but
I used to really resent him sometimes for being able, and then moaning about it. And I look back now and I'm like, oh, he was just offloading. He was just offloading to me because he was stressed. But I was like, if I could only go to work at 6 and then not come back till midnight, I would love it. I might not, put me in that position, and I probably wouldn't love it. That's maybe a bit excessive. But at the time, I used to really struggle with that, and I used to want more work hours. It's a lot more equal now, so we're in much more flexible positions where he can come home early to do school pickups. He's in a different job role now. And we mould it quite well around each other. We kind of have our set days where we know who's doing pick up and drop off. And we've got a little bit of a rota going on where we kind of work quite equally.
That's good.
But my job now is probably less flexible than his. Like, my shop has to be open at 9 and it can't close until 5.
And you've got 2 of them.
So if I can't, and if I can't cover them, I have to be there. They're like, I can't put a sign in the door saying I've gone home to pick the kids up. Like, it just doesn't work. Yeah.
BRB.
Whereas if pushed, Paul can work from home, so he could pop out and do the school pickup and then get back to work at home. So we've got a little bit, it's not ideal, but when those situations do happen.
I think that's one of the perks of working with Sean.
Yeah.
Is he does all the school runs.
Oh, if I could delegate all the school runs, I would, though.
It's not for me. I can't hack the school runs. I really can't.
I love doing the school run a couple of times a month.
Oh,
yeah.
I will, honestly.
I resent the school runs
I go to school late, and if I'm early, I'll sit in my car so that I don't have to do small talk on the playground.
Yeah. I didn't want to do it.
Sorry, mums that might be listening to this from our
it's
school.
not you, it's me.
It's not you, it's me. I'm socially awkward. I'm just not up for it.
I would say that 90% of mums feel exactly the same as you.
Yeah,
but
there's
still
10% that absolutely love it. They live for the school playground chat.
Oh my God, I've been invited to a new WhatsApp group for the playground. No.
We went to sports day on Friday, and one of the mums walked up to us and said, "Oh, we've added you because we've got another little one going to school in September. And we've added you to the new reception group." And I was like, I was like, please just add Paul. Add Paul. Yeah. Leave me out of it. I'm so disorganised. I can't do it. You tell me something today that it's Roman Day next Friday. Yeah, absolutely no way I'm remembering that. Tell Paul, he'll remember.
The boys are doing business week this week at school, and which.
Maybe I need to go to that.
Yeah, well, they're doing business week, so they've got to make as much profit as they can on, like, they're selling key rings. It's super cool, amazing concept, and I love it. Apart from the group that he's been put in, I said to Isaac, I was like, what are you in charge of? He was like, keychains and, like, loom bands. I don't know what they are, bracelets or something. Yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, have a look on Amazon, mate. Find some really cheap key rings. And we'll sell them off for like £1 each or something.
Package them up nicely.
Yeah, like sorted. He was like, okay, cool. And he was dead happy with that. Anyway, of course, I'm in a group chat with the other kids that he's in with. And over the weekend, I got these, like, pictures of handmade key rings and handmade loom bands. And I was like, I'm really sorry, but I really don't have time to do that. But I love that you can. Yeah. And I think they're amazing. Yeah. So props to you, because you are mumming life, like, so good. But I have just bought plastic tat from Amazon. Yeah. And he is going to sell them.
Oh, I'm like that with the cake sale. Like, all these homemade cakes turning up at school, and I'm like, no. I literally ran over to the convenience shop this morning, roughed up a banana loaf that was left on the shelf and changed its tin and took it down there.
There you go.
Like, absolutely not for me.
Work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. I think one time there was like a cake sale and I had forgotten, but even if I hadn't forgotten, I wouldn't have been able to bake a cake. I gave the teacher a £5 and I was just like, here, I'm so sorry I've forgotten the cake, here's £5. She was like, we can't accept cash. I was like, well, we need a cake. I was like, but just take the cash, put it in the PTA pot. That's what the cakes are being sold for, right? Yeah. Like, she was like, I'm sorry. So I was like, so now I'm going to have to spend £5 on these cakes. I'm going to take home all these cakes that are full of snot and hairs that someone else has baked. Like, and I was just like, and I walked away and I was just like, oh God, I feel like that awful mum that's just tried to throw money at an issue.
Yeah, but sometimes
I've got take money this, go on.
Yeah.
It'll disappear.
It was the worst thing. It actually wasn't me handing over the £5. I'd given it to Romeo to give to his teacher, and I was like, give your teacher the £5, and she came back out with it after school and gave it back to me. She was like, it was cakes, and I was like, yeah, I know, but I haven't got time to bake a cake.
So it feels so like I feel judgment from the school sometimes.
Oh, big
I do.
Time.
Sometimes I feel the judgment, and especially when we were opening the shop, and I didn't have any time for my children. I think for about a year, literally, I was missing bedtimes. I was missing them waking up. I wasn't seeing them barely at all. Yeah, and the school would email about something. I'd just be like, look, I'm so busy right now. Yeah. I can't deal with
some space.
I just need you to just keep teaching my kids, okay? They're happy, they're fine. Yeah. I don't need to know about all this stuff. Can you volunteer for this? Can you do that? And I'm like, I can't. Like, I just can't.
Yeah.
And I think there was a parents' evening where they were like, we know you're very busy.
Oh, I get that all the time.
We know you're very busy. And, you know, bear in mind, my kid's school is literally up the road from the shop. We know you're very busy, but, you know, if you could get involved in some school activities, it would really boost the boys' esteem. And I thought, oh, please, like,
if I had spare time, I'd rather just spend it with the boys.
It's the fact that she was directing at me. Sean was sitting right next to me, but she was looking at me saying it, and I'm like, I don't even like children. I don't want to do stuff like that. Sean will, I'm sure he will, and they're like, well, it'd be great if you could, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No. And this is the thing, you're busy. You're busy running a business. And like I said about what have you had to sacrifice? There are certain people, mums, that would be like, oh my God, you're terrible for doing that.
Yeah,
100%. And I know
we'll
that
look down on you for saying
that might listen to this might
but
think,
ask any of my friends and family, I was the least maternal person. How I've ended up having all the kids, I have no idea. But I'm the least maternal person in my family. I've never been that interested in having kids, and I'm not really that interested in other people's kids.
No, I'm not either.
Like, it doesn't come naturally to some people. They're just so
they're
natural
so good
around
with
children,
kids,
and it just isn't me. I can just about cope
really
with
good
my
at,
own
like,
kids.
The baby stage, and then maybe 10, 11, 12, because they can have a proper conversation.
But in the middle,
and then teenagers, awful.
Yeah.
So come back when you're 21.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go to the pub.
I just naturally, I'm
exactly.
just, not
We'll go
all
to the
women
pub.
are naturally maternal, just like not all men are naturally paternal. Like, I just don't have it in me to be.
Sean's more maternal than I am.
Oh, same with Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Same with Paul.
So
He would have kids endless. He would
wouldn't.
keep going. He can't now.
I don't want to sound like, as women in business, and I keep referring to this because I think it's quite important. Have you ever been put down? Have you ever been underestimated for being a woman and trying to run a business by anybody? How did it make you feel, and do you agree with it? Did that fuel your fire to be like, no, do you know what? Fuck you, I can do this as well as a man.
Do you know what I get all the time? When I've quite often had staff that are older than me, like florists or shopkeepers that are older than me, and someone will come in to ask a question, and they'll ask my work experience student, because she's older than me, and they'll look at her, and I'll even then answer the question, and they still look at the older person thinking that they must be in charge because they're older, or they must be in charge. Yeah, it's just like, I've always had an issue with people can't get their heads round. Maybe not now, I've aged a lot. But when I first opened the shop, maybe, and I look quite young, I like to think.
You still look young, Kelly.
People like look past me thinking, young, blonde female, can't be in charge, can't possibly own this business. That I get that a lot. Yeah. And I go, you know, Ash, I go to quite a lot, well, not so much now, but I go to some networking stuff, and it's all very corporate, and it's quite male dominated, finance, lawyers, solicitors, and I will get oh, you're a florist. What's a young florist doing here in a room full of all of us?
Trying to sell you flowers, you know, babe.
Yeah. And then I'm laughing because 90% of them walk out with my card and phone me up for flowers, and I think that's why I was there. Yeah. I was there because everyone needs a florist. I might not be a big player in the corporate world. You might not find me in Canary Wharf, but I've got a space and I just want to own it.
You do. And you
Brilliant.
Do. Yeah.
Brilliant. What about you, Danny? Because your industry is probably very male dominated.
Very, very.
I would imagine a lot of the reps a lot of the fitters, a lot of.
Every fitter I'm yet to come across a female bathroom fitter, to be fair.
That's a daily reminder, isn't it, that there's still something gender related in these industries.
And yeah, this industry is very male dominated. And usually what I come across is a couple come in because they want to start talking about, you know, getting their bathrooms done, and we'll be talking, and I know my shit. I do, and I don't care if that sounds big-headed. I don't care if that sounds like I'm full of myself. I know what I'm doing. I really, really do. And I if I don't know what I'm doing, I will find out. But 98% of the time I know what I'm doing. So the amount of times I do get men unintentionally, most of the time, it will be the men that will talk to me about drainage and but the waste is here and and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. You don't need to tell me that. I know what's going on. And I have to really, I normally have to find, to make it stop, I will have to find a way of picking holes in what they're telling me, because most of the time they're not fitters. They're not, you know, they don't know what they're talking about.
They're DIY enthusiasts.
Yeah,
and there's a reason why they're in with
they've
you.
had to come to see me, because they don't know what they're doing. And I have to subtly pick those little holes apart to just prove myself and insert my knowledge into the bits that they aren't saying because they don't know exist, just to make them be like, okay,
she knows her shit.
She does know what she's doing then. Okay, fair enough. You know, I have, one of my biggest things is I will have men within the industry that call me aggressive. And that really, I can't explain to you how much rage it fills me with, because actually I'm not aggressive. I'm just assertive, and I know what I want and I know how to get things done. That does not make me aggressive. That just makes you scared of me, because I'm a threat now. And that's why back when we were talking about me being actually really emotional, that's the front that I have to put that front out
because you're
first,
in that male dominated.
because I'm in that. And once I'm comfortable with people and somebody knows me and I know that they respect me for knowing what I know, then the emotional side of me comes out. But, you know, I do get called aggressive a lot. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not aggressive. I'm assertive. You just don't like that.
You don't like
it's something that
that
makes you feel uncomfortable, because whether you like that feeling or not, it's because it is a younger female telling you something that you didn't actually know, or having to correct you on something.
Yeah.
And that's actually what grinds on some men. So that is something that definitely is a thing, and I am having to constantly fight that battle. And I know other franchisees as well. There are a few female franchisees actually, which we're really proud of as a group. But some of the longest standing franchisees are female owned. And, you know, someone was saying the other day that she constantly has to assert herself, you know.
Because of the space you're in.
Because you have to fill your space with, I know what I'm doing. Yeah. And that is difficult. I mean, when we're turning up to these award ceremonies, you know, like 900 people strong. And I can tell you now, 85% of them are men. Mm. And that can feel really...
Yeah, but how much more amazing is it that you took home one of those awards in those statistics?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm very proud of it. I'm really, really proud of it. Especially as the last one we won was like a fully judged, you know, a judge comes round and actually you spoke to her, didn't you, funnily enough? And yeah, it can be difficult sometimes. And I have to remind myself sometimes that not every man is thinking that as well.
Yeah.
I have to remind myself that not every bloke is walking in going, cool, she's a girl, she don't know what she's doing. I have to remind myself of that, actually, that there are quite a lot of men out there that
won't
even think about, oh, well, you're a girl, you don't know what you're talking about. There's loads of men that don't think like that. But it's the ones that do that stick out that you think, well, hold on. You've got to be a bit more bolshy here.
Yeah.
But I also started working within the trade. So, you know, I was working for like Dulux Decorator Centre, like trade counter as soon as I left school. And then I went into like plumbing trade centres and things like that. So I'm quite used to being in male dominated places, which I think has really helped me as I've grown now, I think.
It's important. It don't matter what. You're always going to have people look down on you, aren't you?
Always.
You're always going to, no matter whether you're a male or a female, you're always going to have people. I mean, look at some of these 16-year-olds making more money than all three of us put together. Like, it's crazy. Social media. And do you ever compare, like comparison? Do you ever compare yourself to other people because of these highlight reels and think, oh, why is my life not like that? And then take a step back and be like, hold on, my life is like that if I only ever posted the good bits.
Oh, yeah, I'm quite good at seeing that. I don't let social media trick me into thinking I'm not doing a good job as a mother and as a business owner. Yeah. I know full well I could make a reel now of all the best bits of my kids and look like a dream mother. Yeah. I know I could. Same with the business. I could pull apart all the best things that happened to me in the last 8 years in that shop and make it look like I am smashing it. But I'm not tricked into thinking I'm not as good as the next person. I know full well I'm not the best paid florist, but I know full well I'm not the worst paid florist. I know I'm not the best florist, and I know I'm not the worst florist, but I've got a space and I'm filling it well, and I've got the clientele that I want. I wouldn't say no to more, but I won't be tricked into social media making me not feel good enough.
Do you think that's like partly our age group though? Because we've kind of grown up
without it
and then with
social
it.
media,
yeah.
then with it.
I worry for the kids now.
Yeah, I feel
not
like
knowing any different, because they're growing up thinking that these things are normal, and I constantly have to remind the kids that what they see online is not.
It's not life.
It's not real, and they could make it look like that for them as well, but it's not real.
Definitely.
You've got to use it social media is one of the best ways for me to sell. I make most of my marketing is on social media, and a lot of my sales come off the back of social media and of stuff I've posted, and 90% of my weddings will come in because they saw one of the weddings I've done online. And my subscriptions, I've never marketed my subscriptions anywhere other than social media, so all my subscription clients are off social media. And people tagging me when people are asking for recommendations. That's how I got you, that's how Danny found me, was when she asked if there was a florist, and there was lots of people recommending me on social media. So I see social media as a really positive thing for my business. I don't do social media so much for I don't have a personal Instagram. I use social media for business. But I don't think I'm tricked into thinking that's real life when I see these things on social media about all these success stories.
And I think the world is coming more inviting to authentic content.
Yeah.
Now, the way things have changed, obviously before, if you wanted to put an advert on telly, £50,000 plus the camera crew, plus this to create a 30-second ad. You can now do it from your phone.
Yeah,
and
free.
You'll relate to people and you'll build super fans from being authentic.
Yeah.
People want raw. People don't want to see the highlight reels anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that might be our age group as well, even more so. Because we're
quite lucky that we've seen the world with and without social media.
We don't want the kids to see all this highlighting reels, and we don't want that. We want people.
Well, I don't want them to look at it and think my mum doesn't do that with me.
well, that too. But also, I've noticed a lot of my Instagram feed is turning out to be. Obviously, I follow lots of home renovations and garden renovation, things like that, or home lifestyle, and a lot of it that appeals to me and the algorithm has figured out appeals to me is really sweary blokes just trying really hard to make something look good and
winging it.
That's what I really, really like. I really like that personally, and also
I think you'll attract what you put out. So my shop, sometimes I've had some quite rude, edgy signs in my shop, that are a bit, not sweary, but a bit edgy. And I had someone come and complain to me once because I had an A board outside my shop, and it said something along the lines of, it was something about encouraging a man to buy a wife flowers. And she came in, she said, I find that really offensive. Why can't I buy myself flowers?
Oh.
And I was like, well, you can, Karen. You can buy yourself flowers. I wasn't aiming that board at your husband. If you want to buy yourself flowers, buy yourself flowers. I am here for it. It's just an off the cuff, tongue-in-cheek comment, funny. And 90% of people walk past, and I could hear people giggling as they walk past this A board. And I quite often put funny A boards outside the shop. And that one person, and she walked out, and I just thought, you are not my customer.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take that A board in. You are not my customer. You don't get me. And just that whole personality clash, you can't be for everybody. And I just think, put out what you want to attract, because I'm out for fun, stylish, artistic people, even if they're not artistic themselves, but can appreciate something a little bit different, that's not Interflora type or supermarket style flowers. They're unusual, my flowers. They cost a little bit more, but they'll last longer, and they're unusual. You won't get what you're going to get, and someone will know you've got that from a florist, and a good florist, and not just from the station. No one's going to wonder if you spent £5 on that. You didn't. They're going to know you spent decent money on that bouquet.
This is why we use your flowers for client gifting.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's free marketing because
the thought's gone into it.
Yeah, but also because your flowers are so different.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can even give Kelly a brief and say their bathroom was pink and red, for example. Yeah. And she'll go, all right, cool, let me put something together. Yeah. And some of the clients will be like, oh my God, you've chosen all the colours from my bathroom.
Like there's that little bit of extra thought that actually didn't cost any more. That tiny little bit of thought didn't cost any more, but it had big impact. Like, it was valuable.
And they're sitting on their kitchen counter, and then their best friends come and go, God, I love those flowers. Where'd you get those?
Oh, bathroom designer.
They go, oh, my bathroom designer sent them to us. It's free marketing for me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like amazing. It's just like you say, you've got a space and you're owning your space.
Yeah.
You're not going to ever be everyone's cup of tea. And if you're trying to be everyone's cup of tea, you're going to fall on your arse.
Yeah, you are. You've got to choose your target audience and just do it well.
If you picked another florist and done everything that they did, it's not going to work.
Yeah, no, it's not.
If you picked another Ripple showroom and had it identical to what they...
Wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work.
People want to see personality. They want to see, and like you said right at the beginning, people buy into you as a person as well.
All my consultations for my bathrooms is about them trying to figure out if I'm for them just as much as...
Can we work together?
Can we work together? Do you think I get you? And, normally I've got a great read on people. Normally I do get them. But some people, you just don't. And it's just something there.
Would you turn down a job if you felt that they... like not so much seeing red flags, but just thought we don't vibe? Would you?
There have been a couple that where have also had to teach this to our designer as well, where I've been like, do you know what?
Don't be afraid to
this
step
is
back
probably
going
to cause us more problems than it's worth
Yeah.
down the line, because it's just not quite, they don't quite get what we're doing.
Yeah.
And we can't seem to quite get what they're asking for. And that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just can't quite.
That was a turning point for me in my career, was learning when to say no. Like not saying yes to every job.
It's a really nice thing though, isn't it?
Yeah,
to be able
See,
to
I
do
don't
it.
think we're at the
and
luxury
to recognise
of doing that. We're not at that point.
I haven't been doing it long.
I have to take what I can.
Yeah.
But if I know...
But you will get to that point.
If I know in my gut, going back to the gut thing again, if I know in my gut that it's just not going to go right,
the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Yeah, then I will just be like, do you know what? We'll just let that one naturally fizzle out.
Yeah.
And, we'll just call that one a day, and that's fine. That's okay.
It's okay to let things go if you know.
Sometimes it is, and it's just we're too young as well. Like business wise, we're too young to take on too many problems. As well, like being completely raw and honest.
Risk factor.
You have to factor that in, because if I've got to fix a bathroom that costs $25,000,
can make or break.
Where's that coming from? Exactly. So it's quite difficult. My side of the industry. Really difficult.
I can imagine. Well, let's wrap this up then. Go back to when you started. One bit of advice that you give to someone else in your shoes.
The one bit of advice I would give to somebody else.
What do you wish that
someone told you before you started your I'm going out on my own, I'm going to boss bitch this, let's fucking do it? Wear a condom.
Don't have any kids.
Don't do it with the family in tow.
I would say actually just go for it, because I do genuinely think, as cliche as it is, and I'm making myself ick as I'm about to say it, life is too short to sit there, wonder. If you get that opportunity fall in your lap, like, very sadly our opportunity was inheritance, and that's a very sad thing. But also, that doesn't happen very often to a couple that were living off 80 quid a week with 2 children and then 3 children. That's what we were living off. We were living off 80 quid a week and scraping by and debt up to our eyeballs. And, like I said, I had children from the age of 21. So we were so young as well. I was still young, I think. 32, still young. Okay, it's still young.
It is young.
I think when an opportunity comes, or that bright idea comes, and you can't not envision yourself standing outside your shop.
Yeah.
You should just do it. And you should go and find any physical possible way of making it happen. just make it happen, because we live a much nicer life now. We haven't made it.
Yeah.
We haven't made it. There's still a lot of work to be done, but we're not living off 80 quid a week.
You're also happy, like content day to day with going to work.
Yeah,
yes.
I think, and that is worth so much in itself.
If you can find something that you love doing and that you have a passion for, make it your business, because and make it successful, because you don't have that dread in the morning.
It's no longer work, is it? If you enjoy what you do,
it's your lifestyle, and it becomes your lifestyle.
If you're really passionate about something and you can make some money out of that, you will make it work. There will be lows and you'll think it's not working, but if you really are passionate about something, for you it's designing bathrooms and getting that customer satisfaction at the end. If you're really, and for me it's like the creative, the art, and I just chose flowers, like I said, as my medium instead of paint or whatever. If you're really passionate about it and you can turn it into an income, it will work. It will dip up and down. It's not always going to be...
Oh, like a yo-yo.
Yeah, it's not...
Peaks and troughs
it's
constantly.
so unusual for it just to take off and you're going to become a millionaire. And I don't even want to be a millionaire. I just want to be able to live.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
I just want to go and do a food shop and not worry too much about how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to buy all the kids' uniform when they run out of bloody shoes because they've scuffed them all.
Not have to stretch it to the next half term.
And not have to, not stretch it out. Just to be able to be like, it's all right, mate. We can go and get you another 20 quid pair of shoes. Like, no problem. Whereas before, that would have been a nightmare for me. So that's just being comfortable is lovely, actually. And I see it as quite a luxury where we are. And we are, like I say, nowhere near made it at all. We're really not. But it's so much more than what we had. Yeah. And
you enjoy doing it.
And I love doing it. Apart from Mondays. Mondays are terrible. It's always a problem day. But I love doing what I do. And it's what I've wanted to do for years. Yeah. And, I even had little dreams of, like, moving to Cornwall and opening my own little bathroom shop there. And it just ended up happening this way. And I wouldn't change it. And I want more. I want another one. I want to have 3. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm 32. Our franchise contracts last 10 years. So I could have another 2. But I just this is my baby that I've got to
the first
really
one
get
right.
this one turning perfectly. Once that happens, I want more. Yeah. Because I love ripples and I love what I do and I love it. I really, really do. And so I hope that any, younger people, early 20s, that are just having that seed of, I'd love to do that.
For themselves.
Do it. As soon as you get that little ding in your head, I'd love to do that. Go and do it. Yeah. Just go and do it. Make it your life mission to go and get it done, because if you're doing it with passion, you're going to love it forever and it will work.
And 9 times out of 10, and I spoke to someone about this the other day who quit their job to go out on their own. I said, okay, hold on. You're worried about losing your safety blanket. You've got a bit of money behind you. You can last for 6 months. If it doesn't work, how hard would it be for you to go and get your old job back? Yeah.
I could walk into any bathroom design job. I genuinely could, and I'd get it. You could walk into any florist.
I'd hate it.
You'd hate it, but
you don't need to now because you've done it on your own.
Yeah. I think that's what you're saying. Like the backup plan is it's really easy for you to go back, and it's not. It's a risk, but it's not at the same time if you love it. And you're good
There's always a way out if it did fall on its arse. Yeah. There's a way back out.
Yeah.
I think just doing that with children is extra scary.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is. You've got to have don't be stupid. Don't go to your boss now. Right, I'm quitting. Well, what are you going to do?
Jack it all in now.
I don't know yet, but Danny said, go and do it now. What about you, Kelly? Apart from wear a condom, don't do it with kids.
What would I have told me, what would I tell someone?
What do you wish someone had told you?
Oh God, I really don't know.
That accountancy is really bloody hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh, I really honestly I don't know. What would I wish someone had have told me? I had it. Oh, I'm so lucky. I had someone telling me what I needed to be told, and that was just that I could do it and not to worry and just go and smash it. I actually had that. oh, that was a moment.
Yeah.
That was a moment. I had it. I had a lot of support. I had a lot of people going, you're really good at this. I did not realise how much I thrive off of compliments. My God. I need to be told every day that what I'm doing is good. If I didn't have a shop and I didn't have people walking in constantly saying, your shop's lovely, oh, this is so nice, oh, wow, did you make that? I don't think I would be okay. I need compliments all the time, reassurance that what I'm doing is really good, even though I know that I'm quite good at flowers. I need people to tell me it all the time.
Yeah.
And I had that when I started. I had people saying, you're really good at what you do, you can make a living out of this,
your whole husband,
all of him
literally just went, you're going to smash this apart. I'm going to tell you.
Mind you, I wish someone had told me what was involved in running a business, and it wasn't just doing what you love. You have to do all the shit stuff too. Really and hard. You can't delegate it at first. You have to do it all. You have to do the bookkeeping and finding the receipts at the bottom of your handbag at the end of the month. You have to do all the customer emails and the customer service and the marketing and the website and the banking. And for me, the delivery driving. And you have to do it all. You cannot afford to delegate that out to anybody else.
No.
And I wasn't prepared for that. I don't know what magic accountant I thought I was going to pull out of my arse in the first year. But turns out there's only so much an accountant can do for you. They actually need you to keep stuff organised. Yeah. I actually still don't do that. A little shout out to my Lawrence, who does all my keeping my receipts organised and my banking organised. I literally couldn't survive without him. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have him.
Surround yourself with people that support you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's definitely a good takeaway.
Yeah, it is.
And if they don't support you, then
just don't
find new people. Don't let it put you off. Just find new people. Yeah.
I think I had a lot of people actually when they realised how, because I would have been 29 when I signed my franchisee contract, and obviously 3 children, young kids, and actually you saying that, thinking back, I had a lot of people going, God, I don't know how you're going to do this.
Oh, I get that every day still now. How do you do it?
How are you going to run a whole business? Who's going to take the kids to school? And I'm like, well, not fucking me. My husband's going to do it. I'm not the only person
get it all
that
the
exists
time.
in this relationship.
I feel like lots of people put me on a bit of a pedestal sometimes, and they go, how do you do it? And I think, I feel like a bit
just show up every day.
I feel like a bit of a
show up.
Because I just do. Also, I don't know if anyone knows this, but I have a full-time live-in nanny and housekeeper called Paul. And he does quite a lot too. So there's a thing for men is that they don't get enough credit for the slack they pick up when they're married to a career woman, to a woman in business. They pick up a lot of the slack. And Paul goes to birthday parties sometimes, and the women there go, oh, isn't it good that you bought them? And he's like, why?
I'm a dad. I'm doing what I do. Yeah.
Like, why is it good that I bought them?
I feel like Sean has also had it before, where they've been like, oh, you got saddled with the kids again. And Sean's like,
they are my kids.
They're my kids.
They're my children. I love them. Like, I think it's great. I get to spend all this time with them, and he does. He loves it.
Yeah.
So, the men actually, I think you're right. Some men actually get really
like the raw
pushed out when actually they're doing just a greater job that any other mum would be.
No one really says to Paul, oh, how do you do it, when they're considering like kids and work. No one says to him, oh, how do you do it with 4 kids and a job? But people say it to me all the time, and you do feel like a bit of a fraud because I think, well, it's not just me.
Yeah. And you show up every day and you make it work.
Yeah,
in the summer holidays, you make it work.
Oh, the summer holidays.
Right, kids, guess what we're doing today? We're going to chop rose petals. We're doing this.
My kids have all been brought up in the back of the shop. They've all spent their childhoods.
But I think it's important. I think it's really important for kids, especially in today. Like, I fear for the kids growing up today. Like, our kids, I fear for them because it's so hard. Yeah. It's so hard to get ahead in life.
It's so hard, but no one puts it out there. Like, they think they can become an Instagram influencer and be a millionaire,
pinning themselves on that's what's going to happen, right?
Unlikely that they're going to be that one that makes money out of being on Instagram. But it's so hard when I have my son turn to me and he's like, oh, I want to be a famous gamer. Like, there's people playing games and they're earning millions of pounds, and I was like, that is true, they are, but they're the ones you're seeing. You're not seeing these hundreds of millions of people that don't make it and have got no money. And it'd be great if you got there, and I want you to be ambitious and I want you to work hard for something,
but don't pin your whole life on it.
Please don't pin your whole life on it.
Have
it
as a passion. Have it as a passion.
And if it works, it's good.
If it works, it works.
My boy wants to be a footballer. And I'm like, that's great, mate. Let's do football. You're really good at it. And he is really good.
And if you get scouted, then
I'm
great.
like, yeah, fantastic. It'd be great. But don't assume that's what's going to happen for you, because life is a funny way of handing out lots of different things that can happen. And you can't pin everything on you're going to be a footballer. You've got to think. I keep telling him he should be a bathroom fitter, because the industry is running out of young people to do that sort of
no
trade.
one wants to do it. They don't want to do it.
Because they're all hooked on Instagram and not getting their hands dirty.
Not getting their hands dirty. Oh, Ferrari. I want a Ferrari as my company car, my first day and stuff. And it's hard, so I think it's important for the kids. My kids love coming in to work with me. They want to come to work with me sometimes. They're bored after 20 minutes. But I think it's important to show them that you've got to work hard in order to have right, kids. My daughter Ella goes to me, Daddy, have you taken some more money from work again? How did you afford? You told me you had no money. You've taken money from work.
That's the sort of bookkeepers we need.
Do you know what I mean? And it's just, you do the things you do for yourself, for your kids. But I think it's really important that they see both parents working.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I was in Sainsbury's yesterday.
We've got to smash these gender roles.
Just
got to do
it.
For
sure.
I was in Sainsbury's yesterday and there was a kid playing up. It must have been 7 or 8 years old, playing up. And they'd opened, the mum was going, don't open the pasta. Don't open the pasta. And the kids opened the pasta. Yeah. And it's all over the floor in the middle of Sainsbury's. Well, that wasn't very good thinking, was it? That wasn't very good thinking. And I'm like, nah. You're never ever gonna, you stupid twat. Right, get on your hands and knees.
You're going to be picking all those out now.
I'm going to cook your dinner with it.
And I just think that there's too much of this, and the kids need to know that it is hard out there. We've got to teach them that it's tough. Give them especially with social media.
I feel sorry for the kids that are being brought up gentle parenting, because when their boss shouts at them one day,
it's going to in the face.
It's going to tear them apart.
Someone bullies them at school.
Yeah, someone on the road rage. It's just going to tear them apart.
It's
said naughty words. It's naughty words, but that's something.
It's difficult for them. I really do. But I'm really about having 3 boys, and you probably feel the same. I'm really passionate about making sure that then they don't turn into this sort of Andrew Tate. I'm really passionate about making sure that actually they know that women can work. Yeah. And that Sean praises the ground that I walk on, to be honest. So I think they are learning from a great role model. Nice. And it sounds like they are from Paul too. Yeah. So I think that's really important, by that, us being in business and being so obsessed with our own business. That the kids are seeing how actually women can smash it just as much as men can. Yeah, that's really important. I think so. I agree.
But I also think it's important to tell your girls that they shouldn't be wearing dresses. But that's just my take.
That's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast,
isn't it?
But no, thank you very much, girls.
Pleasure. Thanks. Anytime.
I hope you enjoyed it.
It's always good to get a woman's perspective on things,
It's always good to get a woman's perspective on things. So if you listened, if you watched, thank you very much. That's been Kelly from Bella June Flowers and Danielle from Ripples Bathrooms in Limfield.
Thank you.
Bye.